Welcome back, viewers and subscribers to episode 3 of the Footy Nuffies.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
Thanks for following, thanks for liking and subscribing, and please keep commenting as well. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, we will pop a link down here, and that'd be wonderful if you could. Where can you find us also, Ash, if they're looking?
Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, and Apple Podcasts.
Absolutely. If you prefer listening to the long format in the podcast form, when you're walking or running or cycling or driving, please head over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and you can listen to the long format. Really quickly though, let's go through episode 2, just a quick recap there. Actually, what was in the news last week?
Bailey Smith rude gesture.
I reckon we'll talk about him later in this episode as well, but he whacked his, or copped his fine, didn't he? I think they might have done a bit of fundraising for him, perhaps a GoFundMe, but next was Tim Kelly being dropped from the Eagles, which was really huge news there last week. The coach sending a message through the rest of the camp, but he come back and I think he was pretty serviceable against the Bombers despite getting done.
By 2 points.
Yeah, what's next?
Harry Reid trade whispered talks, Cats, Essendon.
Yeah, that continues to be a big talk, and there's still not really any news confirming one way or another whether he's going to extend his contract at West Coast or look elsewhere. But sometimes when you see that happening, it almost speaks volumes, perhaps, that they are going to move.
Yeah,
sooner rather than later.
I reckon he will.
Yeah, who can blame him? Chasing team success, I think that's what he seems to really want. Although he's
sort of his only hope.
Professionalism has been questioned a little bit at the moment this year, hasn't it? Is he meeting the standard? Is he training hard enough, etc.? But and then we talked about the state leagues as well, which was wonderful. The Vics having a win over South Australia. And who was under the pump last week? Actually, it's always good to recap under the pump.
Melbourne, Sydney, Bulldogs, Tigers.
Now, 3 out of those 4 stood up and delivered.
Yeah.
Didn't they? And we're going to talk about Melbourne later on, and the Bulldogs for that matter. But the Tigers, the Cubs, that was really impressive against the Suns on the road.
But Suns are rising up there. They're not rising down here.
They are, and we're going to talk about them later as well. But they're on the move. Sydney, we are going to talk about them in this episode. Really interesting. We said last week they were in a precarious position. Like 5 rounds into the season. It's starting to look
panic stations.
And then the highlights from Gather Round, Ash.
Oh, that was Geelong Cats comebacks, plenty of goals, Port Adelaide's win.
And then the Gold Coast as well, who were performing really well. That's coming into light though this week. But and we had a couple of questions as well, which we'll finish with questions this week. Now, if you haven't already noticed, check out number 1 Nuffy over here with the Bailey Smith headband.
Yeah.
We went to the footy yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
Easter Monday.
Yeah.
It was an absolute belter.
And there will be a game day vlog coming out soon.
Yeah. Hopefully we can put that one out tomorrow. Our game day vlog, which we got some footage of from the mighty MCG, and that'll be great.
Yeah.
But let's move on to episode 3, Ash.
Yep.
Done well there with the recap. In the news, mate. In the news this week. Do you want to fire us off? First one?
Yep. Connor Nash, MRO.
Scrutiny.
Yeah.
So that's been sent straight to the tribunal.
Yeah, and he's going there.
How many weeks do you think?
Oh, probably 2.
2, yeah.
What do you reckon?
I'm thinking 3+, but I think it could stretch out as far as 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's a big call. Do I think it was an accident? Probably. I think he was going to try and spoil the ball or knock the ball on, but you've cleaned someone up, and that someone has been concussed, which is not great. It's terrible. I did see in the news today some of the footy talk shows, they were suggesting, there was some of the commentators, like I think it was Lee Matthews, suggesting perhaps a red card rule. You knock someone out, you get sent off as well. That is not currently in place in the AFL, but do you think that would be a good idea?
Well, I don't reckon, because it's a contact game.
That's it.
Soccer's just different because it's no contact.
Yeah, that is an impressive opinion there, because it is a contact game, and accidents happen. This was an accident, or it certainly looked like it. The Cats didn't seem to remonstrate with Nash all that much, a little bit, but didn't escalate any further.
Yeah, we didn't boo him.
No, well, maybe a little bit, but not much. I mean,
Well, we booed Impy more though.
yeah, they booed empty. That was interesting, which we'll talk about shortly as well. But so, please drop a comment below. What do you think? How many weeks will he get? You have to be quick when you're commenting because it'll probably come out probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday. I'm not too sure when he's going to the tribunal. But so that is Connor Nash. The next one, just a quick one. The other one in the news was Bailey Smith. He's been fined as well twice.
In that game.
Yeah.
And then that was like third time this year.
Yeah, he's on fire. In fact, if you can start passing the hat around for him, or a gold coin donation or something, he's going to need it. I think he's up for 6,000 or something this week, but with an early plea, it's going to be around 3,500. But yeah, the incident there with Jarman Impey on the boundary line after he got bumped, he's throwing the football in his head, and then later on, as he's coming over the bench, I think he gave the old two-bird finger salute. Not that bird, but the other bird, the nasty bird. But anyway, Bailey, I think Chris Scott. We listened to Chris Scott's press conference after the game, and it was very much we're going to support him because he brings a different flavour to the game, and it's been interesting. You think about we're trying to make AFL players like robots.
Yeah.
It feels like it, isn't it? But then as soon as there's a character in the game, we condemn the character. Like we all love the Wizard Watson and Guinea and some of these other blokes that are quite theatrical with their celebrations and they bring the crowd in. But then, there's a big majority of people that will ridicule them and punish them as well for being, sort of characters.
Mm.
So I don't mind a bit of Bailey being a bit of a character, so long as,
it's in the game.
Yeah. Try to keep it in the spirit of the game, I suppose, or, it's a bit of that white line fever. Let's press on though, mate. What's next in the news?
Injuries with Sam Draper. Looks like he's done his Achilles.
Yeah, so he's going to be out for the season now, which hurts their ruck stocks, doesn't it? Because who was the other fella?
Nick Bryan, and now they have to rely on just one ruckman.
Todd Goldstein, the 36-year-old.
Which means he's probably going to retire next year.
Well, it means he's going to get another 10 or 12, 15 games this year. Toddy Goldstein, he probably didn't expect that. I think he's taken on a bit of a coaching role at Essendon to support the younger players that are developing.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be out on the park, so he better start doing a couple of 400-metre run-throughs and get the body right. He'll be out there this weekend. But no, that's horrible, isn't it? Horrible news.
But that means he has to run more because he needs to run to us because they have no fourth ruckman.
No, they got 2 metre Peter that'll do the ruck down forward, I'd imagine. But old Toddy Goldstein's going to be working overtime. But on the positive injury news front is Sam Darcy. That hyperextension of that left leg on Sunday, that looked horrible. Gosh, made me nauseous just watching it. But it looks like an ACL has been ruled out, which is wonderful. So he should return to footy pretty soon. Should be good.
Yeah.
Next one there, Ashy.
Jamara. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You sort of, it's a really polarizing topic at the moment. We need to support people with their mental health issues if they do have mental health issues. So it's really polarizing. But then, this fella's getting paid $800,000, which is incredible. But not training or infrequently training at sessions, missing some, attending some.
And there's talk that he might be with a bad crowd with like the bikies, which are a bad crowd.
Well, that's right. There's talk of hanging out with the wrong crowd and perhaps doing some inappropriate things. It's all rumours and innuendo.
Give them drugs, like maybe pretending they're coke when they're just drugging.
Oh, yeah, we can't really comment on that too much, but it is. It's rumours and innuendo, and but it's a little concerning, I suppose, for the dogs. That's a shame, but for him as well. You hope the right people are getting around him, giving him the support he needs. But you hope there's that dialogue between him and the club, his manager, so that if he needs to be moved on at the end of the year, the dogs can support him to do that, to put him in a new environment. But it is a polarising topic at the moment. I'm sure the Doggies fans, or there'd probably be many on one side saying, Jamara, come on. Many on the other side saying, give him a break. He's a young fella, but very polarising. Please, again, let us know in the comments. What do you think about that whole situation, and perhaps how you think it should play out?
Now Murphy
What's
Reed.
next? Yeah, Rising Star.
He should have won it round 1.
Probably.
Kicked 4 goals in like 10 minutes, but then that was like his only period where he showed
he had
something.
that 10-minute just went bananas, didn't he? But look, a worthy Rising Star award nominee this week. I think he's played pretty consistent footy all year for Fremantle. And despite they had the loss there on the weekend, which was a bit disappointing for them, but they're certainly building a pretty talented list. It's still a little bit questionable about where they sit at the moment. But we'll talk about Fremantle a little bit later on because we're going to highlight Melbourne because I think that was wonderful. Under the Pump, Ashley. Let's talk about Under the Pump. Who is Under the Pump, firstly?
Start
with the first one.
The TV.
The TV. Our TV or someone else's TV?
Anybody's TV.
Everyone's TV is Under the Pump. No, it is TV. It's to do with TV. It's the AFL and their TV scheduling. So shout out to Harry, my nephew and Ashley's cousin. We went camping the other week and we spoke about this, and he said, you guys should touch on this on the channel. And so shout out Haz, that's awesome, mate, and I agree with you. So TV scheduling, 2 points on this for this episode.
Yeah.
First point is the Saturday free-to-air games in Victoria.
Yeah.
It's non-existent.
Probably not, shouldn't it? Because they're not. Because people our granddad and then
loves the Bombers.
Yeah, and and the Bombers played in Gather against Melbourne, and that would have been. He would have loved watching that game.
Yeah.
He would have had to watch it, just look at the scores,
yeah.
and not even watch it on KO, because he would have just had to look. Like if it's a goal, he would have saw it on the AFL app.
Yep.
He wouldn't be able to watch because he would have been. He would have went on the AFL app and just been able to watch little highlights. But he wouldn't be able to watch the game because it's only on KO. No.
Yeah, super disappointing. Super disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so for those that don't know, I did a little reading up here. I prepared the show notes better this week. Last week I was like, thank you. But did a little reading up. So marquee games like Anzac Day, although that is on Friday, but if it did fall on a Saturday, that would be on free to air. So I am betting that the Indigenous game, Essendon and Richmond, that falls on a Saturday. I would suspect that'll be played on free-to-air TV because it's a marquee game. That seems, I was reading between the lines, putting 2 and 2 together. But the interstate games, if it's a non-Victorian team playing in an interstate games, I believe, so like Brisbane will still get to watch Brisbane on telly, was my understanding. I could be wrong there. Leave a comment below if I am wrong. But free-to-air in Victoria, no dice. Now, Harry was telling me something like the Thursday night game will be then replayed on 7+, or you can access it on 7+ on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already watched it on Thursday. Why do you want to watch the replay unless it's the Mighty Pussycats? But I suppose there'll be some people out there, if it's your team, maybe you want to watch it again. But so, I don't know.
Unless if you get it absolutely smashed.
Yeah, exactly. You're not watching that again. But a radio, I mean, your pa, he loves the radio. He has listened to that, so he wouldn't mind. But I'm sure he'd prefer to watch it on the tally.
I would.
Yeah, but
probably most of the people who would talk to would say, I would want to watch the tally.
Yeah.
But I would say 70% would want to watch the tally and 30% would want to probably watch the radio.
Let us know. Are those numbers spot on? 70-30. But anyway, AFL, you're not out of the woods. You're in again. Good Friday footy. Big game. You're sitting at home or sitting on holiday somewhere and you want to watch a good game. And big game. North Melbourne. Now, we've had them under the pump. And we get it. They're young. We get it. They're developing. Take them off Good Friday evening. Put them on during the day, Good Friday. There was a Good Friday game during the day. Yeah. Put them on that one because you're sitting at home on a Friday night. You want to watch a good, close tussle. They're getting beaten by 14 goals.
That's horrible.
I mean, I get it.
No,
horrible for the North supporters.
You know what they should do? They should have done Essendon and Carlton and then North West Coast. North West Coast would have been an absolute.
Yeah, that might have been a close game, but yeah, Essendon and Carlton, Good Friday, that would have been. AFL, there's a 7-year-old giving you suggestions for your TV scheduling and just your fixture scheduling in general. That would have been much better. At least you would have had the buzz of 80,000 people at the MCG.
Yeah.
But anyway, a great cause.
And
a great
at least
cause.
it probably would have been at least a 4-goal game.
Not a 14. But still a really great cause, the Good Friday Royal Children's Appeal. Fantastic. No disputing that, and not making a mockery of that or anything. It's just the game scheduling for viewers. You could have really nailed it. And they've had a go. They've had a few years now, the North. Yeah. You know, they were playing dogs for a number of years, and now it's been cut. They keep getting pumped.
They can't do it. It's too hard, too much pressure.
We'll give it to someone a bit more deserving, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, someone that's going to...
Fight, like Hawthorn.
Yeah, Hawks would be good, but they've got the Easter Monday, and that's a big game. But let's not spend too much time on it. Cause,
but then, if you wanted, if you would say you would have to trade Hawks to go to Carlton and Cats to have North, well, there's two fizzes.
Yeah, no.
Got to play North somewhere like after that game, or
play them at Arden Street. Back in the 70s, take them back. No, I know what you're saying. I know. Yeah.
Play one like after Easter Monday, or play maybe on that Thursday night, or play midway through Saturday.
I do understand though, playing two Victorian teams for a big game that people come out to see because it's a wonderful cause. Two Victorian teams at Marvel, great idea, because if you had North and West Coast at Marvel, you might get half the amount of people there. But so that's I get that. But
then you can play Carlton Essendon.
Yeah.
You probably get more.
You play with the G and get more. Yeah. Let's press on though, because we don't want to keep everyone here too long. What's next under the pump there, mate? I think they've been in this second week in a row by the looks of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Sydney panic stations starting, but
is it? Yeah.
It probably is. 2 and 4, losing to Power at home.
And last week, show notes, poorly organised. This week, much better. Who are their next 4 games there, actually? Last week we didn't have it.
Suns, Giants, Bombers, Blues. So against the Bombers is the only game in Vic.
Yeah. And the Bombers I put Vic there because I think that's a notable thing. Bombers in Vic at Marvel could potentially get them. Suns in Gold Coast, that's going to be hard.
Gold Coast have only won away from, right where we are.
They beat Adelaide at their home ground, but it was controversial.
Yeah, so really, they've only won away from where we are. So right now, Suns are going to be red hot favourites.
Yeah, and then the Giants the following week.
That one's probably...
It's in Sydney or it's in New South Wales, but it's the Giants.
Yeah. It's going to be hard.
And then the Bombers in Vic, and then the Blues at the SCG. Those are tough 4 games. I expanded the fixture out to have a little bit look further on as well, and it's a tough sort of 2 months for them.
If they lose them 2, they go 4 and 6 basically, and win
2 and 6 if they lose the next 2.
Well,
isn't that right? 2 and 6, and then they've got the Bombers in Vic, which is probably a 50-50.
Imagine if they lose that 2 and 7.
2 and 7, and then if they lose to the Blues at home,
2 and 8.
So I mean. Is it panic stations?
Well, if they lose these next 4, it probably is.
I'm rolling with yes. The fixture is one of the reasons why they got a tough run at the moment, but also just the injuries, their lack of personnel. That's hurting.
Because they made the premiership last year, they got hard run.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah, you finish that high up on the ladder or play in a grand final, you're going to get what's considered a tougher fixture the following year. So.
Like Geelong. We've had to play that big game against Adelaide.
Now another few to follow, but so they're under the pump for 2 weeks in a row. Swanee supporters, don't hate on us too much. I'm sure you're probably maybe thinking the same thing at the moment, but again, leave a comment below. Your engagement really helps us, and it's wonderful to then respond and stay engaged with people that are following and watching the content we're putting out. Let's move on from Under the Pump. I thought that was a good segment this week. I'm really happy with that.
What?
And to pump up the tyres. Under the Pump, I thought it was good. We gave the AFL a little bit of a baking, and that's always nice, isn't it? But highlights, mate. What are the highlights? Let's pick up those.
Collingwood, one of the oldest West side going to another level, and Dacos brothers got like 68 touches.
Yeah, and that was a big thing, wasn't it? Heading into that game, it was like, which brothers are better? Dacos brothers or the Ashcroft brothers? Dacos brothers probably got the points this week. Obviously, they had a big win. But just Collingwood in general, we're only 3 episodes deep, so we haven't spoken too much about them. But Collingwood's got a massive fan base, so good to talk about them. And they're flying at the moment. They're making me nervous.
Yeah, we're gonna have to play them in 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks. They've won the last 5 on the trot. You were telling me the other day.
Yeah, 5 in a row.
Yeah, so that's and Brisbane were sort of 5 in a row, weren't they? But now they got beaten by the Pies.
No, Brisbane won. Brisbane were 5-0.
Yeah.
And favourites to go 6-0,
Yeah.
but they have lost their first game.
Yeah. They're now. A couple of minutes ago, I said I'd prepare the show notes really well. Well, it turns out I haven't, because it probably would have been good to talk about Collingwood's next few weeks. But they do have Geelong in a couple of weeks, which will be a massive game at the G on a Saturday night.
And then Essendon.
They got Essendon as well. Actually, there you go. Thank you. The footy fixture over here. They've got Essendon this Friday, good Anzac Day, which Anzac Day is funny. It doesn't matter where you sit on the ladder, either team, Collingwood or Essendon. It's just a massive game. So,
right.
But Draper's out, so that's going to
really last year, I feel like Essendon was a bit more on top, like by 3 spots, and it still ended in a draw. It was massive.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be really interesting. We'll talk to that a little later on. But yeah, the Pies, they're flying. If you're a Pies supporter, lucky Ducks. I mean, 1 year down and out in 2023 with some injuries, etc. Or 2024, sorry, with some injuries and stuff. And now you're back, better than ever, looking good. One of the oldest lists in the team. Side bottoms flying. I think his disposals, kicks, hand passes, goals. He's sort of performing better than he has the last couple of years. So that's frightening for non-Collingwood supporters. Yeah. All right, next one. Yeah, sorry, he did mention it.
Bond.
The Bond is back.
2 goals and 30 touches just first week back. What is he going to do?
I know. Our friend of the channel, Brent, he'll be watching. Thanks so much, mate. The Bond, he's back. We're going to answer one of your questions, Brent, later on about the Bond. But, 2 goals, 30 touches, as Ashley just said. Oh, what a performance. Tips this week, pathetic. I thought St Kilda will probably get him here. Bulldogs are still building into their season. We did put them under the pump, and they delivered in spades for their supporters.
Yeah, but the last 5 games have basically smashed the Saints. Saints have won.
Oh, really?
Because
a bit of a history buff.
Yeah, 2022 they're going to mark 111 points.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, there you go. So history was on the Dogs' side again, because they've absolutely nailed the Saints. Watching that game, the Saints just couldn't get any run, any space.
Well, they did in the first quarter. But
that's true, yeah. But then beyond that, the Doggies just took control. But, the Bond, he's back and he looks fantastic. The next highlight, Cozzy Pickett.
High 5.
Yeah.
5 goals.
High 5 for Cozzy Pickett. Jeepers. 5 goals. I mean, I think it was Kane Corns was saying, if he can, that's his best. If he can perform like that, every week, he's going to be one of the best players in the competition. 5 goals, 24 touches. He got him over the line. It was tight tussle, towards the end of the game. And, so that was awesome. I was rapt to see Melbourne really lift and show something, because we had them under the pump. Don't think their season's gone just yet. I mean,
need to start performing.
They need to be really consistent from here on in, but here on out, sorry. Next one, maybe we'll go down to the last, and then we'll come back to the other one, because that's a bit self-indulgent. The next one, we'll go Richmond Cubs. We put them under the pump last week, but I thought that was a stirring win against the Suns. They really come on quite good there. They have probably underperformed the last few weeks. I'm sure they'd probably suggest that as well. But they were up against it.
As we said, the Suns are only rising up there, not down here.
Yeah, and the Suns were probably due. You often talk about teams being due for a loss. The Suns were probably due for one. But I was really impressed by the Richmond Cubs getting the job done. And look, the self-indulgent one, although I do still think it was a highlight. We spoke about it.
Probably game of the week.
Oh, you'd have to. We spoke about maybe Brisbane Collingwood being the game of the round.
But that one was an end up fizzer.
No, Collingwood just took charge, and it was show's over. But Easter Monday Classic. Ashley and I, we sort of had a little. It wasn't a bet. There was no money involved, but we said, how many's going to be there on Monday? And I went with 75, and you went with 85.
No, you had 78. And
I said 78, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what did you say?
85.
85. How many were there?
88. 746.
Yeah, it was almost 89,000. So that was also a record for the Cats, home and away game attendance. Biggest crowd ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so awesome. Being there as well, the great atmosphere. It was electric. It was a close game. Some decisions probably went Geelong's way. Some decisions went Hawthorn's way. There's probably some that weren't paid both ways. I don't know. It was great result for us. It felt like there was more Hawthorn supporters there than there were Geelong, but could be wrong. But that's self-indulgent. And,
now we're moving on to questions, but Dad's got the first one for me.
Yeah, so, well maybe. Yeah,
want me to read them out?
You read it out. It's from Brent, one of our viewers.
He did the last one. He's doing
that. By the way, too, if you have a question, please leave them in the comments below or find us on TikTok, Instagram, and flick us a question. But what are Brent's questions? Because we'll work through this quickly.
So your question was best father-son combo. Ablett.
And those were my notes. Hold on, but he did say that you've seen. That's probably a big caveat because I'm mid-30s. I haven't seen them all. But the best, and it's biased, but it's the best. Gary Ablett Senior and Gary Ablett Junior.
No, but your favourite player was Gary Ablett.
Yeah, when I was a little boy.
Number 5 on the back.
Yeah, and I'm sure there won't be too much debate on that. I mean, it's pretty fair. But more recently, see, I didn't see Peter Dacos play. I can't remember him. So you could say, Peter Dacos and Nick Dacos or Josh. But, this question was who you've seen. The Darcys, I can remember Luke Darcy playing. And then Sam Darcy now. I mean, Sam Darcy's flying. Silvani's, I can remember Stephen Silvani playing.
Can you remember the Libbers? No.
Who's that? Liberatore. Yeah. Tony Liberatore in the 90s. And then obviously Tom now. But Ashcroft, I can remember Ashcroft's, Will and Levi's dad, Marcus Ashcroft, playing. He's a 3-time premiership player with Brisbane. So I can remember those ones. And the Ashcroft boys are unreal, and the Dacos boys are unreal, and obviously Peter and Marcus, I mean, they were quite good footballers as well. But for mine, it's the Abletts. The other one's notable that I didn't see, but I thought John Scarlett and Matthew Scarlett. I mean, Matthew Scarlett's one of the best defenders I've ever seen. But there's heaps of father and son players over the last 40 or 50 years, which is
Hawkins
awesome. Yeah, exactly. Jumping Jack Hawkins, but again, I didn't see Jack Hawkins. So, but and then Danaher as well. So heaps and heaps of Brent. Great question, mate, and that really got the thinking juices going. But it's the Abletts for mine. Again, leave a comment below. Would love to know who your favourite or best father and son duo that you've seen play the game, especially if you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. You would have seen a fair bit. And the last question, and then we're going to wrap up the show for this week.
This one's
for Ashy from Brent again, so thank you, mate. By the way, Brent is a Bulldog supporter, so you often see a bit of a theme last week's questions and then one of these questions. Can Bont still win the Brownlow despite missing the first 5 weeks?
Yeah, I reckon he can. He got it. He has to kick at least a goal and 30 touches per game to do it.
Yeah, well, I think he got 3 weeks on the week. Three votes on the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah.
2 goals and 30. I reckon he's probably got 3 there. So he started off well. It's going to be hard to catch Dacos, though, Nick. It's going to be very hard to catch him.
You can't do that. If you just get 1 week where he goes unstoppable with like 4 and 35 touches.
Yeah, he's going to have to be super consistent. But, I mean, here's a bloke that hasn't played for 5 or 6 weeks or something, had a calf niggle, or more than a niggle, sorry. He's missed a fair bit of footy. And comes out as kicks 2 and has 30. Insane. So, Brent, yes, Ashley does think he can win the Brownlow, and I'd have to agree with him as well. I reckon that might do us for episode 3, mate. We're pushing on 30 minutes. I think doing well. The content, it's relevant. It's good. Really appreciate everyone following along and liking and subscribing and adding some comments and things like that as well. So thank you. It helps with the YouTube algorithms and Instagram and TikTok algorithms if you comment and like and share. So please keep that up. Where can they find us again, Ash, if they need to?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, which could be Sunday or Monday or Tuesday.
We'll work it out.